The time when I didn't do the good stuff was when we were.
Hi, friends. Host Eric here. Host Talking with Famous People. As you can see, I got Rachel Apollosa back there. She came over to visit. She said that I had left a bag of chips at her house. She needed to return it. And anyway, I was, dicking around YouTube as usual, and I noticed this video. I keep getting pop up in my recommended videos thing, which is why it would recommend a C.S. Joseph video to me is beyond me. But why I would recommend a C.S. Joseph video to anybody, unless it has malevolence in its artificial heart, is beyond me. But regardless of that, it's called How to Socially Engineer INTPs. First of all, second of all, third of all, whatever you want to call it, as fucking if C.S. Joseph could outsmart an INTP, ever, in a million years, it will never, ever happen. I'm like me going, okay, so here's how, even though you're a guy like me, here's how you beat Tyson Fury at boxing. Like I'm going to beat Tyson Fury. You're not going to beat Tyson Fury boxing? Oh, I know exactly how to do it. I can beat him. No, you can't, C.S. Joseph. You have no chance at all. I cannot social engineer C.S. Joseph. Great timing, great title, great day. Yes. Well, I actually have here a document that I made for this video as well. I'm not just chatting about it. I made a document for it. So I do want to share that with everybody. You can follow along as we go down this understanding of how to socially engineer C.S. Joseph. Okay, there's a document. So let's start at the top. And it won't be a boring stream. I'm going to put the link again here so you can follow along. Let's start at the top and talk about socially engineering C.S. Joseph. First of all, remember, folks, we are here to help C.S. Joseph. This is compassion, not blame. I want to read this preface from Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay? People who cannot or will not completely give themselves to basic logic are usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. So it certainly is very plausible that C.S. Joseph is one such individual. Okay, but that's not socially engineering in Swift Eagle, is it? That's just punching them in the face. So, if his notion of socially engineering somebody is punching them in the face, then fine. Okay, well, fine. Look, it may be a doomed attempt. It may be doomed to failure. But the fact that we're needing to do this intervention and help try to make an effort is at least throwing him a lifeline. Here, if you can admit that everything you're saying is wrong and you're a complete fucking fraud, here's a lifeline. Now, if you can't, then and you won't, of course, but you're right. But nevertheless, then we'll have the satisfaction of knowing that at least we stated the truth and dealt with him in a reality-based fashion. Okay, so social engineering. These are some of the words that he uses when he's talking about social engineering. Ego hack, manipulation, preparing an attack, preparing an social engineering attack, or preparing an ego hack attack. He mentioned sort of helping people out of the side of his mouth. And then it goes back to how you can manipulate people successfully by engaging them in ways that do not involve their consent meaningfully. So it brings me to E here. Now, also note, this is how you outline something that you're going to talk about in a document, for fuck's sake. Look at this shit. Oh, you guys can't see it. What is this? Is this how you prepare? Look at the whiteboard that C.S. Joseph has behind him in that video. And you tell me, who has actually prepared a video on how to socially engineer somebody? Is it him with this scribble scrabble of nonsense? Or is it me with an actual document that's outlined with numbers and indents and shit like that? This is how you do things, C.S. Joseph. Not like a fucking moron. Okay, now, consent K. The basic problem here is he is arguing that one ought to control other people, help them even, without their consent. The idea of manipulation is I'm going to do something I know is going to affect this particular behavior in you, and you're not going to know that's why you're doing it. So the obligation there in this circumstance is to inform the other person, hey, I think this is why you're doing this, really. Not to take advantage of it. Consent is the key distinction here. If you are somebody who does not care about whether you are imposing non-consensual things onto other people, then you are wicked. Well, Fiji Katerina, neither will continuing the farcical lies that he's hearing all day long around him, okay? He is currently awash in farcical lies and affirmation of things that should never, ever be affirmed by anybody. So I'm not insulting him. I'm bringing the hard truth. I'm delivering in the tough love. He's not going to get better by my continuing to lie to him, right? Like everybody else is doing. Listen, C.S. Joseph, you're an absolute fraud, but it's not your fault probably. So you need lie as D. Oh, I am being as generous as I can there. That is a very generous assessment. I am not trying to insult him. I mean, we all know that he has very low intelligence, but generally low intelligence is a nice way of saying that, you know? It's as nice as I can be. I don't believe this is what he meant. I guess he believes you can positively communicate with every single type knowing enough about them. Guys, remember, I tried the bad route before. I tried kind of a bully in one of my previous videos, and I got in trouble with YouTube. So this time I'm making sure that this video is very help focused, okay? We are helping C.S. Joseph. He has a number of problem areas he needs help with. We are good people. We want to help him. That way, there's no way anybody could complain about this video, you see? Okay, now let's talk about the identifying the problem areas. So if you are going to socially engineer somebody, and somebody like C.S. Joseph is probably a good candidate for that because he doesn't deserve the kind of basic ontological respect probably that most people do, given his long history of wickedness. Anyway, first, identify problem areas. So we've got one thing that makes him a tough patient as a metaphysician is he's got three major character issues. One is dishonesty, two is cowardice, and three is agential utilitarianism. Again, these are symptoms of a disorder that stems from, probably being bullied a lot and stuff like that. These are not his fault. These are symptoms of a disorder he's experiencing, okay? So, for example, he wasn't born dishonest. He became dishonest because he didn't react well to negative traumatic experiences. It's not his fault. He wasn't born a coward. He became a coward because he didn't respond well to traumatic experiences. It's not his fault. I want to stress that. We are trying to help him, okay? He did not take a utilitarian approach towards other human beings right out the womb. He had to learn that wicked behavior. And he learned it because he was subject to trauma himself. That means it's not okay what happened to C.S. Joseph. That's why we need to help him realize how he's expressing his damage. Otherwise, he's going to continue to dump his damage onto other people like he's doing right now. That's not correct, Jean Grey. I have admitted to typing people wrong on multiple occasions. Most of the time, my first thing I say is, right now I'm leaning heavily towards Mia. And I end up by the end of it deciding, nope, you're this. I'm very slow to say I'm 100%. When I am 100% sure, then I've not been wrong before. But anything less, I have revisited those and said, okay, I am wrong. I do it frequently. I'm subject to these kind of critiques. You'll note, Jean Grey, you're not getting banned from here because you are challenging me. You can challenge the living fuck out of me, and I will gladly welcome it and respond to everything you have to ask me and say. I will address every single critique and criticism, every single legitimate point that anybody can make without trying to. You're changing your name again, Eileen. Why are you always doing that? It's very confusing.
No.
Who made you a moderator? Somebody's making people moderators. I don't know. I didn't make you one. Did I? Oh, yeah, I did that, huh? I did that. Never mind. I did make you one, Alexander Cruz. Well, exactly. C.S. Joseph uploaded a video on socially engineering INTPs, and Eric wants to rectify that. But I just want to make sure that we understand, because it's obviously a cry for help, right? He must know that in 40 trillion years, He would never be able to outsmart an INTP. You must know that. I can't outsmart INTPs, and I'm an ENTP. He's an ESTJ. He can barely outsmart a bag of bananas. So this is a problem for him, right? So I want to address these things and make sure that we are helpful in our critiques. This is not an attack. This is constructive criticism. We are seeking to help him. We are seeking to cure him of this disorder that he engages in so many bad behaviors as a consequence of. Now, let me put this link here again. I am accessing this document, so anybody can read along if they'd like to. Go ahead. I don't know why it doesn't show up, but okay, regardless, let's go on to the next bit. Agential utilitarianism means basically using other people or manipulating them. B, self-delusion and blind spots. He's deluded into thinking he's an ENTP, and you can see it in his video all the time. He's acting like an ENTP, right? Like he's acting like an ENTP. Mm-hmm. He's trying his best. He's got a fairly polished thing. I mean, who would want to do that, guys? I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is what he thinks an ENTP does all day long. If I can, I mean, for fuck's sake, dude, watch me for a while. If you want to act like an ENTP, you're doing a terrible ENTP imitation. Yeah. It's absolutely fucking terrible. And look, I say this out of love, C.S. Joseph. I want to help you by pointing out your horrible, horrible mistakes in terms of your media, your ideation, and your character, okay? So he isn't qualified to give relationship advice to anybody. He doesn't even know who he himself is, and he doesn't seem to recognize that he's motivated in his dealings with people through this weird post-bullying morass of ontological clusterfuck. Anyway, C, disinformation. Here's this thing. He talks about functions being pessimistic or optimistic, that fourth function and second function are pessimistic. No, they're not. That makes no sense at all. My fourth slot function is SI. It's not too pessimistic. It's too optimistic. I'm always forgetting that I'm going to get tired. Oh, but Eric, you're going to get hungry. Oh, but you're going to get thirsty. I'm always ignoring those realities. It's too optimistic. It's not pessimistic at all. And that's a sort of basic, I mean, I literally watched a total of about 3 minutes of that video. I flipped around this spot here, played for 15 seconds, this spot here, played for 15 seconds, this spot down here, played for 15 seconds. Every spot I stopped, he said something moronically, shockingly wrong. Every 15 seconds I stopped in random places for about an hour and 18 minutes. He did not escape even one attempt to give him a chance to say something decent or smart or correct. Not even one of those did he successfully cash in. He blew them all. He was wrong on every single occasion I checked. And wrong on multiple levels. He thinks that FI is moral and SE morals and SE is physics. FI is not morals. FI is genuine personal feelings. SE is not physics. That's a abstract understanding of the physical world dynamics. It's not remotely physics. Oh, yeah, too. It's not maybe not remotely SE. He thinks there are four sides of the mind, but he has absolutely no warrant for this. Why are there four sides? You know, if you ask me, well, why are there 8 cognitive functions? I would be able to answer that. I'd say, well, because the attentional channels break down naturally such that one draws the topographical lines there. Just as it's like asking the question, why are there 8 lakes pictured on this map? Well, because there's water here and no water here, water here, and no water here. In contrast, there's no reason for 4 sides of the mind. You can't say, well, because I've taxonomied it and these are the naturally occurring separation points. Because it's not the case at all. It is the case with cognitive functions because they're attentional manners. Again, he doesn't even understand that you have to apply both a good logic to something, a good frame to something, and apply the same one consistently. You've got to be able to distinguish between kinds of reasons, kinds of warrants, things that are metaphors versus things that are process analyses versus things that are, you know, representations or symbolic ecosystems or whatever. He's not making any of those distinctions. These are some of the real reasons why he fails utterly. Okay, now again, we are trying to help him, compassionately help him to understand his utter and complete failure. He talks about dispositional parsing, like, well, they have this disposition, therefore this type. It's basically saying, I'm going to guess your age based on the color of shirt you're wearing. I've found good success with that in the past. FE fourth slot example. He talks about INFPs having an unconscious ESFJ who rises to the front anytime somebody needs help. No, it's not that at all. He's sort of right about fourth slot FE. It does want to be helpful. It does want, the INTP wants to be considered useful. They want it. They're a social tool without a use. And FE opportunities arise will motivate them in ways that they otherwise can't access their SE. And it's true. If I need Spacey, then he'll come help me, probably. But it has to be needing him in certain ways. And if he doesn't want to, it's going to just still generate resentment. So a much better way to deal with an INTP instead of trying to manipulate them, because they'll probably see through that and then you're fucked. Then you're not going to get anything out of them. It's to be straightforward and honest with them. Like, it is the best way to deal with everybody rather than trying to manipulate and do things non-consensually. Because if you do that, you're wicked like C.S. Joseph. Okay. Now let's look at this example of the ENTJ seductress, whom he says will send nudes to create a false sense of obligation in the mail.